Hey guys, it's Rob again with some more 8-rack matchup videos. We're going to go ahead and show you my mono black version, which I think I finally have settled on. You know, the red does add some aggro power, and so maybe for some folks that is a correct splash. I don't have First of all, I don't have a ton of problem with aggro, and second of all, it's not all over the place in MTGO, which is where I play, as you can see. It's a new client, by the way. I really like it. Everyone else seems to hate it, but I think they'll get used to it once they do, and they set it up the way I have it here. It's pretty much the same, and it's completely better. Alright, so here's my opener. I got 3 lands. I got the Darkmoor Salvage. I've got only one discard, Blackmail, but I do have Lily and a Finisher and a Dismember. So not the worst hand, but not the greatest either, because I would have liked a little bit more discard. But I think it's definitely playable, so I keep it. I have no idea what he's playing yet. This match is against Jund, by the way, guys. And Jund is kind of a tough match. I'm not going to tell you you're going to win all your games against Jund, but I'd say you've got a fair shot at winning, and you know, it's a winnable match. So I want to put this up here so you guys can see some of the things that you can do to help yourself out. I put as a tag in this game, the future of Modern is here. So he says he's ready for the future. I'm like, you might not like it. But he wins the first game. I'll just preview that for you. This is a 3-game match. I'm going to show you all 3 games. So he opens with a Thoughtseize on me, and he gets rid of my Shrieking Affliction, which surprises me. I thought for sure he would go after my Lily. But he doesn't, and it turns out to be the correct choice. This is a good player here. That was a tough call to make, but he made the right call. So I only have Blackmail to respond. I hate using it at this stage in the game. But I do end up with a few nice targets. After all, I've got Glittering Wish, Blightning, and Kitchen Finks. So looking at my hand, I choose the Finks here. You know, I have no idea what is going on with the Glittering Wish, but the Blightning is not good for me either, really, but I can pitch the Darkmoor Salvage to that. So the Finks could pose a threat because I don't have a bridge in hand, so I can't guarantee that. So there goes the Finks. He might be able to wish for one. I don't know what kind of a wish board he's running here. Okay, so he ripped a Goyf, which is not great because I can't dismember it. If I do, the dismember will make it a 6 or 5/6. So I'm not super happy about that, but I can make him sack it with Lily if that's the only critter he ends up with. So he Glittering Wishes for a... Wait a second. For a Golgari Charm. And gets rid of enchantments, which sucks because I just drew one. He was thinking to get rid of another Shrieking Affliction, but he'll be able to use that nicely on my Necrogen Mists later. I really like the 5th Necrogen Mists. I think it's a cool card as a 5th Liliana. It stacks with Liliana. Alright, so I play Lily. I probably should have Blackmailed there. Looking back on the game, I'm worried about taking too much damage here with the Goyf running away, so I get rid of the Goyf. Alright, he Blightnings me. Oh, that's right. I probably should have Blackmailed there. So I dumped that. I dumped the Dismember. Probably should have dumped the Blackmail there. Boy, I've got some terrible plays in here. I mean, guys, don't make misplays. Like, don't do what I'm doing here. I'm playing poorly. I end up ripping a Dismember anyway, so I guess it's okay. I used the blackmail to try and get rid of his Golgari charm, but he has a freaking abrupt decay on top of everything and a Liliana. So I have to get rid of the Liliana here. Otherwise he'll just get rid of everything I've got anyway. But he's got 2 ways to kill now that Necrogen missed, so that's essentially a dead card. I play it anyway just to get it over with. He abrupt decays, he brings out his Bob. I go ahead and dismember the Bob. So it's back and forth here so far. You know, misplays aside, I've been able to kind of keep things back and forth. Okay, so now I'll get rid of the charm here with the Inquisition, and that leaves him with Bolt only, and you know, no way to kill another Shrieking if I happen to get it. He does rip a Bob. That's not good for me, so the Thoughtseize is useless against his Lightning Bolt, so no point in casting that. And now he's coming at me. He revealed a Mountain last turn. I wrench mine both of his cards. He bolts me and ditches on land. Or an Abrupt Decay. It was an Abrupt Decay, so I got rid of that. He just flipped a Bob with his Bob on the table. So now he has 2 Bobs. And I don't have Infest main deck, so I'm kind of screwed here. He's got a Lily now too. It's over for me now. And I just keep ripping lands with no Raven's Crime in the side, so he's down to 6, but it's not going to mean anything because I'm at 5. He just pulled a Deathrite. It's over. Okay, so I give up there. He got ahead of me, started top decking way better than me. And that is kind of the game that Jund deck wants to play. It wants to be in top deck mode. It's got fantastic top decks and board control to get it to top deck mode, and card advantage too. Jund is a really great deck, guys. There's nothing wrong with Jund. The only thing wrong with Jund right now is that blue is everywhere, and blue kind of manhandles this strategy here, just in the same way it manhandled rock when it was old extended. You know, heavy blue tempo type things that can remand and mana leak and stuff. These early strong plays can set up a position that it's not prepared to deal with. You know, if you can overcome their board control, you can really give them problems. So it's not making it to the, like I played in a tournament earlier today, and the Jund list, there was no Jund list in the top 4. So let's take a look at the next game. So some terrible plays. Looking back on it, I didn't realize how badly I played that, but it was not great. I could have done a lot better. Alright, so moving on here, let's take a look. So learn from my mistakes. Don't pitch the wrong cards to discard. It seems like it might not make a big difference, but then at the end of the game you realize it cost you the whole game. You know, your misplays later on down the road cost you the game. So here's my hand, here's my opener. I've got Lily, break a couple Raven's Crimes, Rack, Dismember. Pretty good hand overall. I'm okay with this. So I'll open with Raven's Crime, of course. Pitches a Lightning Bolt to that. Let's see what I do here. He has no turn 1 play. That's usually a good sign. So I'll Raven's Crime him again and cast a Rack. Alright, he pitches a land. Okay. Alright, well, I'm doing okay. So far, so good. Because he's got to play something to you know, he's got to do something. Alright, I've got Extirpate. That's what I sided in, by the way, against this guy. I wanted to be able to extirpate Abrupt Decay and things of that nature. bobs. I wanted to be able to extirpate any kind of really annoying threat. Okay, so Abrupt Decay he casts, and I'll just go right ahead and extirpate it now, because that's going to take some of the wind out of his sails here. He had another one in hand, which is so nice. If you ever catch it like that, with where you can pull one out of their hand on top of all of it, it really is a good play. You get a lot of advantage from that. So he's got no more Abrupt Decays. Looks like he only had 2 main deck. I saw a Maelstrom Pulse in there, singleton, and presumably he's got 1 in the Wishboard. But for now, I don't have to worry about Abrupt Decay, which is nice. He's going to take no damage here. All right, he's got 3. He plays a Lily. Oh boy. But now here is where the rack really, it's got some advantages over Shrieking. I played a game earlier where the Shrieking had huge advantage because he was running Ancient Grudge and the Shriekings killed him. He killed off all my racks, but he couldn't touch the Shriekings. So they both have pros and cons, but this will be an example of some of the pros of the rack, because he's got 1 card in hand, so I can use it to deal damage to Lily instead of him, and I do, and I'm going to try and protect my own Lily if I can. Let's see what I do here. I do cast it. If he gets rid of the Lily, so be it. He's on a clock now, and he has to think about this. Should be scared about using his own +1. It turns it against him. He doesn't. He does nothing with his Lily. So I've got Extirpate in hand, and things are looking kind of up for me all of a sudden. His Lily's down to 1. Okay, Inquisition. That's good. And he shows me 3 lands in the hand. So what I do is I extirpate one of his Marsh Flats, because he has a Marsh Flat in hand, so that it pings him for 1 and it kills the Lily. So now if I rip a land next turn, I can play my own Lily. Alright, so I've got an Inquisition, and he ended up with the Lightning Helix, which he can't cast because he doesn't have white mana down, because he's holding his white mana in his hand. So I ditched the Helix basically for free. He's on a kind of a slow clock here until I can get my Lily in play. I draw a bridge. I'm looking for a land. He gets a Glittering Wish, which is probably not great. I don't know what he's going to catch. Let's see what he reveals. Okay, so he got the Abrupt Decay, and he trashes my rack. But that's okay, because now he's got really nothing left against my Ensnaring Bridge. And his finishers are creatures, guys. So that's a big weakness of Jund. Wrench Mind, couldn't have come at a better time, even though I would have liked a land here. So he's down to no cards in his hand. The Shrieking's going to start ticking on him now. Alright, still no freaking lands. I cast this. He's got another land in hand. Whatever. He's still taking Shrieking damage. He's down to 6. I don't have to do much here. I really would like some lands. I only need 3 in this deck, and for some reason I'm 17 cards in and I've only seen 2 lands. So that's uncharacteristic. He Inquisitions me and chooses the Lily. Thought that was kind of a strange idea. I would think he would choose the Ensnaring Bridge over that. I have a Lily anyway, so 2 are kind of useless. I can't wait for that new legendary rule. That's going to add a lot to this deck. There's been a ton of times where I would have liked to have used an ability of Lily and then cast another one and used it again, go -2 and then drop another one and go +1. That's a really nice move. Also, it would let me have mine in play while he's got his. That's going to change a lot of things in Modern. the legendary rule, especially with a deck like this that runs Planewalkers. Alright, so I still have yet to see a damn land, but I do have a Dismember, which is useless against that gigantic Goyf. His ass is way too fat to kill. And hallelujah, the miracle. So, I have to think, what should I cast here? I'm at 20, I've got a lot of life, but I go for the Ensnaring Bridge. I think that's the safe play. I don't want him IOKing it out of my hand, give him a second opportunity at him. It shuts down his Jund. He gets this stupid Lily. He can't +1 it, so I discard. Instead of casting my own Lily, I drew another land, which I don't need anymore, so I Ravenscry him and trigger up the Shrieking again. And I get Necrogen Mists, which will end the game for him. No, it won't end the game. But no, well, he does give up, though. He could have actually lived one more turn. He probably doesn't realize that. The Shrieking will not trigger unless you have one at the start. It doesn't check after your Necrogen Mists has ticked down. Also, when you get a bunch of triggers on the stack and Necrogen Mist is one of them, just make sure the Necrogen is the last thing you click, or the last one. You want that on the stack very last so that it happens first. Alright, so I win. Yay. Good for me. That wasn't an easy match. He had a lot of stuff. The bridge was a nice little rip here. We had like a Liliana war back and forth there. So let's check out the third and final game. He was kind of a nice guy after this. I teased him a little bit. Alright, so you're here, go over here. Alright, so let's see the opener. I've got a bridge, I've got a finisher, and some opening discard. This is a keeper. 2 lands. I keep 1-landers all the time in this deck. I don't know about you guys. Let me know if you guys keep 1-landers very often. It more often than not works out in my favor. Unless the hand is really just awful looking, the 1-landers usually work. There's like 20 spells plus at 1 CC, so it's not like you will be stuck doing nothing if you have to go with 1 land for a couple turns. Alright, so he Inquisitions me and takes the rack again. Smart move. You know, even with all of this other terrible stuff for him, he knows that my finishers, I can't win without them. So I'll have to draw more. And I'm not running any tutors in this particular deck version. I went with a couple different routes. I didn't have room for them anymore. I find my deck very, very tight these days. So I rip an Ensnaring Bridge. Probably okay here. Extra copies are good. He's able to remove them. So I'll check his hand with IOK real quick. And he's got Goyf, Lightning Bolt, and the Finks. So the Goyf gets too fat for my Dismember, but I have the Ensnaring Bridge. I think I go with the Goyf anyway. Yeah, I dump the Goyf because that's his next play. Alright, I think that's the correct choice. He's got no turn 2 play. I've got another, I rip an IOK, so that worked out awesome for me because now I can just get rid of the Finks anyway. He's left with just a little Lightning Bolt in his hand, and my game is looking really good now. Alright. So he doesn't have a whole lot to do. He's holding stuff in his hand, I think. I hit my 3rd land, start dropping my bridges, which is good. He'll have to deal with those to win. He can. I mean, Jund can deal with bridge, but he'll have to. I guess that's the point. He gets a Lily, which I'm not super happy about here. So I drop my Dismember. I'd rather have multiple bridges in play. There's no need for the Wrench Mind at this point, so I can let her discard that And now I've got 2 bridges for him to get through. Now he did have a singleton Maelstrom Pulse in there. But the nice thing here is that the Lily works against him because it keeps his hand empty too, which I don't like him having Lily's ult, but I do like his hand empty. So, I have some outs to his Lily, but I have to get something to deal with it. Sooner rather than later. He discarded my rack, and hey, look, I got something to deal with his Lily. So here's another case where the rack is helping us out here. It's doing a lot of good work because Lily cannot ult next turn now. I redirect to Lily. She's back down to 3. It doesn't show the game chat, unfortunately. It doesn't save that, but he was like raging at that point. About top decking. I'm like, well, you top deck the Lily, so I mean, eat it. So now I make a terrible misclick here, and this is not the first time I've done this, and it's not this new client. I used to do it actually probably more in the old client. I go to cast Raven's Crime, and I freaking play my land instead of casting Raven's Crime, which really annoys because it would have killed Lily next turn and then started the tick all over again. But I get a Thoughtseize. He's got a damn land. Lily's down to 1, so Lily will be dead next turn. It's bad. You don't want to make those misplays. Now that's like a misplay that's not going to happen in regular Magic. This guy is not familiar with Bridge, by the way. And he's not learning too easy. So I don't make the mistake this time. I actually pitch a land and Raven's Crime. He dumps his land. So I'm not like killing him super fast, but he's got to do something. See, he has Wildwood. Again, he thinks that it's based on his hand or something, or he just forgets that the bridge is there. I don't know. So there comes the Shrieking. I'm kind of happy to see that. If I get his cards, at some time, all I need is land or discard, and I got a lot of both of those. So he's gonna be squished. As soon as I get some discard here, it'll kill him, before he can even do anything. And my Lily. Good little girl that she is, helping me out here. Lily hits the deck, and he has got a seriously high pucker factor here. Now, it's not going to hurt him yet, but he's stopped at this point. He's got to... he rips one too. So, oh well. What can you do? I'll Thoughtseize him. And he's got Helix and Bolt. He didn't want to cast the Helix in response, and I just take the Bolt, and he's down to 1 card, and he's dead. So I just take the Helix. You won't get any healing off of that. But he is... I get a land to Raven's Crime. Raven's Crime doing its good work. Slowly but surely here. Raven's Crime again. Keeping him close. All I need to do is get 1 over. If I just get him to 1, he'll be dead. Now, this, I feel, is a really dumb play here. He thinks he can live or something by discarding one of his creatures here. But I was like, I asked him, like, I rip another land for a Raven's Crime. So the Raven's Crime's kind of MVP here at the end. But now he's down to 1, and he's essentially dead. And I'm talking to him like, why would you cast that? He's like, I have to, have some way to try and win. So I'm like, I'm at 16. It's not like that's going to be what gets me. And so now all of these tick here. In response, he removes a critter and does live 1 extra turn, but whatever. Now he's dead. He would have been dead with just the rack. So there is the Jund match. Under control, hand control. And it is not an easy match, especially when they have lilies to stop our lilies. It'll be a lot easier for us once we get the legacy rule in place where we'll be able to each have Liliana, and we'll be able to, kind of double Liliana, like you use the -1 or use the +1 and then cast another one and +1 again, and you get to keep it in play. That is going to be pretty sweet, I think. For this deck especially, there's no reason not to have 4 at that point. There's no reason not to have 4 now. I'm just not like you ever don't want to see Liliana. She's so awesome. And the artwork is seriously kick-ass on Liliana, I think. It's cool-ass artwork. And there's everything about it. It's awesome. It's the best Planeswalker in Modern, hands down. I hear rumors that Chandra is going to get a 3CC, and it's supposed to be pretty good. Maybe it'll be like 3CC with a +1, I don't know, ping or something. It might be interesting. Alrighty, so that's the Jund matchup. I made a few mistakes. I played really tight and good in the second 2 matches. The extirpate was pretty useful, I think, in the second match there. It kind of guaranteed me that I didn't have to worry about the abrupt decay, which can cause problems for these bridges. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments and your trolls. People start trolling the primer thread. Go ahead. I don't care, actually. Flame it up. It makes me laugh when I beat you. I took 4th place at a tournament earlier today. A couple other people on the forums were doing even better than that. Somebody took a 2nd place in a bigger tournament. And I think Lantern won at his shop. 1st place, only lost like 2 games out of the first match. So there we go. The deck's got promise. I think it's poised to get something big. People don't know about it. Not preparing for this strategy. You could easily design, sideboards and decks to beat this. There is no question about that. But those decks would be extremely weak to everything else. That is the rogue deck's strength. It's that no one's prepared for it. If you were prepared for it, if people knew about it and were just prepared to accept that they were going to have to face this deck, it wouldn't work. And then it would disappear, and then people would stop preparing for it, and then it would work again. So it's a catch-22. So there you have it, guys. Thumbs up, please. Subscribe if you like these things. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. It's Rob. Peace out.